Hi, my name is Melissa, and today my group and I will be talking about cyber warfare. So, what is cyber warfare in the first place? Oxford Dictionary describes warfare as the use of computer technology to disrupt activities of a state or organization, especially deliberate attacking of information systems for strategic purposes or military purposes. But why is there cyber warfare? Well, as more personal and confidential information is kept electronically, there is a greater sense of vulnerability as more hacks come to life. This sense of vulnerability of important information makes nations defensive and offensive. This constant uncertainty makes them want to prepare themselves, which creates espionage and sabotage. Countries do this as a method to protect themselves and be prepared for future attacks, or even to prevent attacks. If they learn about the attack beforehand, they can prevent it. And that the only way to learn about these attacks is to get into those informations that other countries don't want you to get into. So they use it as a method to gain leverage or have a counterattack. In this presentation, Jessica W. will be telling us about a recent cyber attack. Christina will be telling us about the effects of that cyber attack. Jessica R. will tell us about the implications of cyber warfare. Elio is going to talk to us about how the U.S. feels about cyber attacks on our country. And lastly, Marilyn will tell us what Donald Trump is doing to prevent and protect the U.S. from cyber attacks.
Hi, I'm Jessica Wedgeworth, and I will be talking about a recent cyber attack. Ransomware attacks on businesses have become more frequent. On May 12, 2017, hackers executed damaging cyber attacks. These cyber criminals used malicious software they had stolen from the National Security Agency. By the evening of May 12th, the cyber attacks had spread to over 74 countries via email. It's the first time in history that a cyber weapon developed by the National Security Agency was used in a cyber attack. These cyber attacks were unleashed on patients, hospitals, governments, citizens, and businesses. Security experts describe these attacks as the digital equivalent of a perfect storm. Ransomware attacks have increased from once every 2 minutes to once every 40 seconds.
The ransomware that was used in the May 12th cyber attack first sent an email to its victims. Once the email was open, it encrypted the victims' data and locking them out of their systems. They then would receive a pop-up message on their computer demanding ransom money in the amount of $300. It was unclear at the time if they would even regain access into their systems once they paid the ransom. And the longer they waited to pay the ransom, the more the ransom amount increased. The cyber attack caused many issues for many different people and places around the world. It affected at least 36 hospitals, doctors' offices, and ambulance companies in Britain alone, later affecting other countries such as the US, Asia, and Europe. Hospitals were locked out of their systems, preventing them from looking at patient files or accessing any records, and emergency rooms were forced to turn patients away in need of desperate medical care.
Hello, my name is Jessica Rodriguez, and I will be talking about implications of cyber warfare. With the recent hacker situation that occurred in the British hospitals and it hit dozens of other countries, it caused a global blackmail attempt spread by the internet. And unfortunately, this is something that happens way too often. Cyber attacks can cause major damage to its business line, its business reputation, and it reduces consumer trust and as a result, legal consequences. With this, businesses can also suffer from substantial financial loss. A cyber breach will incur costs to repair affected systems, networks, and devices. With this, most companies will have to start all over again. They will have to pay lots of money and fund for a brand new system to make sure that hackers don't hack into the systems ever again. As you know, this causes a lot of um, problems for everyone involved. It's very, very costly at times. Cyber attacks can cause its reputational damage, loss of customers, loss of sales, reduction in profits, its impact on business relationships with suppliers and investors. And also, if they don't have any type of security measures in place, they could deliberately face fines and regulatory sanctions.
Hi, I'm Elio Zuluaga. How does the U.S. feel about cyber attacks in our country? In the CNN documentary, War in Space, The Next Battlefield, CNN's Jim Sciutto speaks to members of the military space forces. In the documentary, we learn from the experts of the threats, challenges, and the strategic course of action being taken. Threats and challenges. The United States considers Russia and China the two major offenders with the capabilities to start a war in cyberspace, where U.S. satellites could be potentially susceptible to being kidnapped or destroyed by other satellites. Military space forces believe the U.S. is not yet prepared for a cyber war. It is believed that major U.S. cities like New York City and Los Angeles are targets where U.S. key infrastructures, such as computer networks, banks, power plants, are main targets. U.S. military space forces are particularly concerned about military communications being disrupted. U.S. space commanders believe a cyber attack of this magnitude will be catastrophic. The course of action involves a cyber defense strategy undertaken by the Strategic Space Command. This includes arming satellites, creating advanced GPS satellites, creating space drones, populating space with microsatellites, and using military operational lasers. The U.S. Space Forces and U.S. intelligence are working diligently to prepare and defend the country against the imminent threat of cyber warfare.
So what is President Trump doing to protect the U.S. from future cyber attacks? He's taken action to secure the nation's cyber defense by implementing the executive order to help manage cybersecurity risks by prioritizing and collaborating with threat assessments, detection, protection, and mitigation. This will modernize, optimize, and innovate information systems. So how would this help manage cybersecurity risk? This can be done by outlining America's path forward with our allies. This can be accomplished through crafting an engagement strategy which will outline and work with partners to defend against and discourage malicious acts. Not only will this promote an international stability, but also secure the internet that drives our economy, while utilizing a comprehensive review system to support its sustain. As the drive continues, the President is committed to working programs that will identify, develop, and retain cybersecurity talent. How can this prioritize and modernize cybersecurity? By establishing a clear policy for security risk management. This can be done by the federal government bringing its authority and capabilities to include risk management efforts to the nation's infrastructure, mitigating cybersecurity risks to the Department of Defense, including risk associated with foreign components. This can be done by requiring agencies offer support and give feedback on any gaps in the cybersecurity toolkit. Strengthening the nation's ability to respond and recover from cyber attacks can be accomplished, and our posture as a nation to fight back against cyber attacks across the globe. Federal agencies will continue to work hand in hand with the nations of the world to promote an open, reliable, and secure global internet.
This concludes our presentations about cyber warfare. Thank you so much for listening.